terms and trying to import them in unless you've actually done that work. You're doing that work. Good on you, mate.
I'll take the last question,
Okay.
and it's just relating to the timelines for the students. You've got 30 men and women here that are going to be working diligently on their Old Testament timelines. I grew up thinking that BC was before Christ, and then AD was the Anno Domini, or Latin. And what was the Latin meaning of AD?
Anno Domini, the year of our Lord.
Okay, so it's before Christ and then after Christ. But now, when I went back to Israel, it's BCE and then CE. It's before Common Era and Common Era.
Right.
So when did it change from, did I grow up wrong? I mean, my parents just told me that it was before Christ. It was never before Christ. It was always Common Era. Or when did that change? And then a second follow-up question is, why did it take 600 years for somebody to slap their forehead and say, we need to start dating, at 1, 2, 3, 4, because from what I understand, the common calendar that we have now, as far as when the world started and the dates that we use in our current, this is 2015, that started around 600 AD. Why did it take so long for people to start adding numbers?
Okay.
2 minutes.
2 minutes. So there's your answer to your first question. All this is BC and AD is specifically Christian terminology. Scholars of religion, especially from traditions other than Christian, got uncomfortable consistently using Christian terminology to express dates, so they said, okay, we'll do something neutral. We use the same numbers because they're useful. So we use the same numbers, and we just change, we call BCE and CE. So it is very common in fields of religion. So if you read books that are printed by religious presses, you'll often see BCE and CE. Historians still tend to use AD and BC. And I would say this is probably the last 30 years or so that this has started to be pretty common. I work in books in both fields. And for example, in my book, I use BC and AD, but I may well end up changing it to BCE and CE. It depends who publishes it, because there's standards, kind of professional standards. So the Society for Biblical Literature now basically requires that you use this as an example. The dating system was developed by Dionysius Exiguus in about 600 AD. You're correct. He was a Christian monk. And there's no year 0. There's a 1 BC and a 1 AD. And the tradition was that Jesus was born in the year 1 AD. Scholars all agree that was wrong. Many believe that he was born in 4, 5, or 6 BC. I argue that he was born in 6 AD. But either way, this is wrong. So our whole dating system is wrong, but nobody's going to change it because it works really nicely. Okay? So we're not worried about that. We'll adjust accordingly. The reason why it took 600 years to come up with it is the idea of having a unified dating system was actually not, most people in the ancient world had local dating systems. So it's like you have this is the 5th year of the Emperor Tiberius, for example. That's the way you would date something. Or in Athens, you had every year there was a guy's name associated with the year. So this is the year of Fred. This is the year of Joe, right? And they have these lists of what they call the eponymous archons. Among the Greeks, they had what they called Olympic dating. So the first Olympics was 776 BC. Every Olympiad is 4 years. So the second Olympiad is 772 BC, 768, etc. And so you can do Olympiad dating. You also have dates in different regions, and they just got very confusing. Each one makes sense to the people who use it, but if you try to use it anywhere else, it gets confusing. If you try to cross them up, that gets confusing. So there were enough people started getting frustrated when they tried to pull these pieces together, because you have these disparate systems and you're always having to double check, and how do I get back to this? You see this in Kings, right? In the 20th year of so-and-so, this happened. In the 30th year, so, right? And it's hard to figure out, where are we again? So Dionysius Exiguus finally said, enough already. Let's try to get one system that can cut through all of that, and we tag everything to that system, and then it can all work. And so that was his contribution.
All right, thank you.